Magandang gabi po at malapit na ang hating gabi at napansin ko po yung kinaso po kay Bong Revilla ay hindi nagtugma kaysa yung kinikwento ni Yusek Roberto Bernardo na binigay niya kay Bong Revilla. Mahigit 200 billion ang may bias ba to ang ombudsman kasi kapwa ng kapwa kabitin niyo ni Remulla yung si Bong Revilla. Mayroon bang tanong ito dapat sagutin ito ni Nika ng mga ombudsman bakit ganito. Hindi natin alam kung bakit ganito. No? O ito mo yun. Ang kinaso nila kay Bong Revilla ay tingnan natin. Ito po ayon kay Sarah Rappler. Pakinggan natin ang Rappler kung ano mga kinaso kay Bong Revilla. Sa Lunes expected na po na Lunes, Martes may research, may may warrant of arrest dito. Kawawa naman si Bong. Paano kasi? Bakit niya nakasuhan? Yung tanong ko.
Magandang hapon, ako po si Jairo Bolledo, Rappler Reporter, at kayo po ay nakatutok sa Rappler Recap. Para po sa recap na ito ay pag-uusapan natin ang kaso o mga kasong isinampa laban kay former Senator Bong Revilla at 6 na iba pa in relation to a ghost project in Pandi, Bulacan. Today, Friday, January 16, ay final ng Office of the Ombudsman ang ikatlong kaso in relation to the flood control scam dito sa multi-billion corruption na pinag-uusapan at inimbestigahan ngayon ng ating pamahalaan. So dito specifically kay Revilla ay naharap siya sa kasong graft o katiwalian at sa malversation o yung paggalaw po ng pondo ng bayan sa hindi tamang paraan. Kasama po ni Revilla na umaharap sa mga kasong graft at malversation ang mga dating DPWH officials na sina Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, RJ Dumasig, Emilita Huat, Juanito Mendoza at Cristina Pineda. So katulad po na nasabi ko kanina, ito po ang pangatlong kaso na umabot po sa korte. Ang una po ay yung kay Lazaldico na may kinalaman din sa graft and malversation na nakapending o nakasampa ngayon sa Sandigan Bayan, kasalukuyan ng dinirinig ng anti-graft court. Yung pangalawa po ay yung kay Sara Diskaya at iba pang mga opisyales ng DPWH. Yung kaso naman po na yon ay pending naman sa lower court, specifically po sa Cebu, doon po sa Lapu-Lapu City Regional Trial Court. Balik po tayo dito kay Bong Revilla. So paano naman po siya nasama dito sa kaso na ito? Ito pong kasong pinag-uusapan natin ay may kinalaman po ito sa 92.8 million na ghost flood.
Tandaan nyo yan, 92.8 billion lamang ang kinaso.
Control project po na matatagpuan sa Pandi, Bulacan na inaward ng March 28, 2025. So ang nangyari ay nakakuha daw ng kickback itong si Revilla mula doon sa pondo na ginamit para doon sa proyekto na yon.
Ibig sabihin sa isang proyekto lang siya kinasuhan?
Ombudsman, nag-conspire daw o nagsabuatan itong si Revilla at yung mga opisyalis ng DPWH para ilabas or makakuha ng 76 million pesos mula
dito man
doon sa 92.8 million na budget para doon sa flood control project sa Bulacan. Bukod doon sa pagkuha nila or pag-facilitate nila or pagkuha nila ng 76 million pesos, as it turns out, itong actual project na yun na pinondohan ng 92.8 million, in the end ay hindi naman siya natayo at non-existent siya. Kaya ghost flood control project ito na itinuturing ng Office of the Ombudsman. So bakit na dawit doon si Revilla? Kung matatandaan po natin, ito pong mga legislators natin, yung mga lawmakers po natin, ilan sa kanila ay allegedly nakikipag-usap sa DPWH para magkaroon sila ng kickback o makakuha sila ng cut mula sa...
Post mo na. Hindi ko lubos maisip na kung titingnan mo, pwede namang tanggihan nila si Bong Revilla. Tanggihan lang in the sense na hindi sila magbibigay. At ituloy na lang ang kontrata. Makipag-bidding lang sila doon sa mga mga contractor. Pero bakit? Ang tanong ko, ang lalim ng tanong ko nito na hindi pa nasasagot na maayos. Ano ba meron kay Bong Revilla at saka ibang mga politiko kung lalapit manghihin ang pera ay kay hindi matatanggihan ng mga contractor at saka mga taga-DPWH? Ano kayo meron dyan?
sa proyekto sa DPWH. Specifically, kung matatandaan natin, September 2025 ay naglabas ng testimonya at ng affidavit si dating DPWH Secretary Roberto Bernardo kung saan sinabi niya, dinawit niya itong si Revilla among other senators and former senators na di umano nakakuha ng kickback dito sa flood control project. Ang sabi ni Bernardo, nakita at personally nakita daw sila nitong si Revilla at ayon kay Bernardo, 25% pa nga ba yung pagkasundoan nila ng makukuhang kickback ni Revilla mula doon sa flood control projects na nakalista under his name. Hindi lang doon yun. Sinasabi pa ni Bernardo na itong si Revilla daw ay siya mismo, si Bernardo mismo, ang personally nag-deliver ng pera papunta kay Revilla. At kung titingnan natin yung trail of evidence na ginamit ng Office of the Ombudsman, likely kasi doon din sa affidavit ni Bernardo, sinabi niya doon at in-state niya doon yung specific projects kung saan kinuha yung supposedly kickback nitong si Revilla. Nasa 4 to 5 projects po yun in total. So ang ginawa ng Ombudsman dito ay trace down nila from the NEP or National Expenditure Program yung mga proyekto na yon. Kaya na-trace nila na itong sa 200 million na yon, may 92.8 million doon na Ordes, Pande, Bulacan.
Oh, bakit 92.8 lang? Mahigit 200 billion ang binabanggit, 200 million. Mahigit 200 million.
Project. Kaya dito na na-trace at ginamit nila yung affidavit ni Bernardo para matrace yung mga ghost flood control projects in relation to Revilla. So in other words, from Bernardo down to their investigation dito sa flood control projects, ginamit nilang lead itong affidavit ni dating Undersecretary Bernardo. Ngayon, bukod po doon sa pagsasampa ng kaso dahil nasampa at na-file na nila yung kaso sa Sandigan Bayan, iraraffle pa po yun or i-assign pa yan ng Sandigan Bayan sa specific na division na hawak po nung kaso na to. At kapag nagkaroon na po nitong division or mga justices po na hawak nitong kaso ni Revilla at ng mga DPWH officials, pwede na pong maglabas ng warrant of arrest itong anti-graft court natin. Pero bukod doon, nag-request din po ng whole departure order itong Office of the Ombudsman. Ibig sabihin po, sa oras po na maglabas ng warrant of arrest at i-grant yung petition nitong hiling ng ombudsman na maglabas po ng whole departure order ay hindi na po papayagang makalabas ng bansa itong si Revilla at yung mga kasama niya po na akusado or respondents doon po sa case na ito. Bukod po doon ay nag-request din sila ng urgent raffle kasi nga po Friday ngayon pero itong ombudsman ay nag-request sila ng kung maaari daw ay baka bilisan o pwedeng bilisan ng Sandigan Bayan yung pag-a-assign nitong kaso doon sa mga
anyway,
division.
mga kampayan mga next week, hindi naman kailangan magmamadali. Ito lang po yung problema ko na hindi ko ma-reconcile sa sarili ko. Pakinggan natin ulit yung testimonya ni Roberto Bernardo kasi dito po kinuha ang kaso laban kay Bong Revilla. Hindi magkatugma eh. Pag ganun parang sinasadya para mananalo si Bong Revilla. Kasi kapwa ni Boying Cabeteño si Bong Revilla. Pakinggan natin ang kwento ni ni Roberto Bernardo kung magkano binigay niya na total kay Bong Revilla. Sundan natin
obtain peace of mind and preserve the truth. Among other factors, the contents of the second supplemental affidavit had to be violated by me by making reference to an assortment of personal notes and records, deep thinking, as well as confirming with persons certain details regarding the time, place, manner, and circumstances under which the events narrated hereunder occurred. Moreover, owing to the passage of time and the fact that I am no longer part of the DPWH following my retirement in August 2025, the process of collecting facts and details had progressed slower than expected, contributing to the delay in the submission of this second supplemental affidavit. Also, I would like to make clear that while the facts narrated below are based on my direct personal knowledge and fortified by official DPWH records, the kickback scheme pertaining to the collection and handoff of the commitments to the relevant public officers occur practically without any paper trail. A statement of facts applicable to all. Over the decades that I worked for the DPWH, it has always been my philosophy to form good working relationships between and among my bosses and our superiors, inferiors and our subordinates, and other colleagues even without the promise or expectation of a reward or personal advantage. I would rather troubleshoot problems than develop enemies and immediately address all concerns. I would do this so that I can effectively perform my duties and responsibilities under the DPWH. Unfortunately, this professional orientation of mine has forced me to compromising situations that include the matters narrated hereunder. I reiterate my deep remorse and guilt for what I have done, and I am now animated by an honest desire to help rectify the institutional defects in the systems and operations, not only of DPWH, but also other government agencies, and help in developing lasting and meaningful reforms. I can confirm, based on my personal knowledge, that in some form or another, and on various extents, based on current setup, each and every DPWH official, employee from top and down the line is buffeted with various avenues of corrupt acts and practices. This would include high-ranking members of the department, such as secretary, undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, regional directors, district engineers, bids and awards committee members, engineers, inspectors, and all the way down to laborers. This is also true for several top officials of other departments and or agencies, such as but not limited to the Department of Finance, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Department of Health, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Transportation, Philippine Charity Sweepstakes, Philippine Coconut Authority, etc. Moreover, I can confirm, based on my personal knowledge, that in some form or another, and on various extents, most proponents have their own designated contractors who will take on the projects for the former's benefit and advantage. Sometimes, other proponents would request me to suggest contractors for them who are known to me or referred to me by friends and other personalities. There are situations that national and local elected politicians would request me to source projects for them. If given more time and opportunity to review the records and confirm supporting facts, I may be able to particularize the details of these transactions and dealings. Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr.
Yan, pakinggan natin.
I have a close and friendly relationship with Senator Ramon Bong Revilla, and we go all the way back since the time of Amay Bisaya and Mayor Viseo, who first introduced me to the former legislator while I was still a district engineer in Laguna sometime in 2005 or 2006. We frequently meet in important social gatherings. Senator Revilla later on became a godparent of two of my daughters, while I became a godparent to one of his children. When Senator Revilla was incarcerated, I visited him several times at the PNP Custodial Center at Camp Crame.
Babalik ka ngayon
Because
sa
of our close
kulungan.
relationship, Senator
Sigurado to, babalik sa kulungan si Bong.
Revilla had asked me for assistance on several matters which I can no longer exactly recall at the moment because this happened a long time ago, and I presently don't have records to help me reconstruct the events. Sometime in the third quarter of 2024, Senator Revilla and I met where he asked me for a list of projects for funding, ostensibly to help him in his national campaign. When Senator Revilla asked me about the percentage of the commitment, I suggested either 20 or 25, to which Senator Revilla said 25%.
Okay,
Soon thereafter, also in the third quarter of 2024, I asked then District Engineer Henry Alcantara to prepare a list of projects, which he subsequently gave to me. The said projects are enumerated in a list here to attach as Annex A. Moreover, still in the third quarter of 2024, I also asked then District Engineer, but later Regional Director for NCR, Engineer Gerard Opalencia, to prepare a list of projects, which he subsequently gave to me. The said projects are enumerated in a list here to attach as Annex B. I had the list of projects totaling 1.5 billion submitted by Engineer Henry and Engineer Gerard, consolidated in one sheet of paper, and gave the same to Senator Revilla in the third quarter of 2024. With respect to the projects under the NEP and HGAB, I followed this up with Secretary Manny Bonoan upon request of Senator Revilla, who would also follow this up with Yusek Cathy Cabral. The White House compound is the ancestral home of the Revillas with the large Blue Gate entrance at the time. Sometime in the last quarter of 2024, Engineer Alcantara collected the 25% commitment of about 125 million and informed me that the same was ready for turnover through Engineer Gerard Opalencia. Engineer Gerard Opalencia told me that the 25% commitment was already loaded in my vehicle. After receipt of the 25% commitment, which were packed in 6 cardboard boxes, each containing at least 20 million, and 1 paper bag containing 5 million, I called up Senator Revilla to inform him the same is ready to be turned over to him. Sometime December 2024, probably the Monday after my receipt of the commitment, my driver and I went to the residence of Senator Revilla. Upon reaching the area, I tried calling Senator Revilla, but he was not answering my call, so I waited. After waiting for approximately 1 hour at a nearby gasoline station, we were finally allowed inside the compound by the guard. Once inside, we parked the vehicle, and shortly upon alighting, I saw Senator Revilla at the terrace. I walked over to Senator Revilla for a casual talk. While the boxes were being unloaded, Senator Revilla and I talked for about 20 to 25 minutes. I asked him, Sen, bakit hindi ka nangangampanya? Senator Bong replied, okay naman pare, maganda results ng survey. Relax muna. The personnel of Senator Revilla helped in unloading the boxes. After the delivery of the commitment, I headed back to Manila. Sometime late January or February 2025, in relation to a list of projects submitted by Engineer Gerard Opolencia, Senator Revilla called me to follow up on the status of the commitment. About a week later, sometime February 2025, I informed Senator Revilla that the same was ready for turnover. Before the start of the campaign period for national elective positions, I directed one of my aides to deliver commitment amounting to 250 million to the residence of Senator Revilla at the White House compound, Aguinaldo Highway, Bacoor, Cavite. Senator Nancy Binay. Carlin Yap Villa is the aide of Senator Nancy Binay, who transacted with me regarding the latter's projects and commitment. If I recall correctly, I first met Carlin in the year 2018 during the budget season at the Senate. Eventually, sometime 2019, Yusek Traigib Olivar, whom I knew very well, endorsed Carlin to me. From then on, Carlin would contact me directly to follow up the status of different matters. Sometime fourth quarter in 2022, Carlin, claiming to act on behalf of Senator Binay, asked my help for the transfer of an assistant district engineer in Mindanao to another district, a request which I endorsed to Sec Bunoan. Sometime during the third to fourth quarter of 2022, Carlin requested on behalf of Senator Binay for a list of projects worth around 1.882 billion with 12% commitment. The said projects are enumerated in a list here to attach as Annex C. I got 3% of 1.882 billion. I prepared a list of projects within my area of jurisdiction with the help of DPW's officials, but could not recall at this time exactly who among them gave me the list. But I can recall that it was Engineer Manny Bulusan who coordinated the collection of the commitment. Eventually, during the first quarter of 2023, the commitment was delivered to Carlin for Senator Binay in several tranches in Makati and Quezon City. But I could not recall at this time the details of the deliveries, but I undertake to submit additional information thereon. Sometime last quarter of 2023, Carlin again asked for Senator Binay a list of projects for inclusion and funding under the 2024 GAA, which I provided with the help of Engineer Gerard Opolencia and Engineer Henry Alcantara. The total list of projects initially amounted to 2.5 billion, but which was reduced to 1.672 billion. The said projects are enumerated in the list here to attach as Annex D. Apparently, some individual or group offered Senator Binay a higher amount of commitment of 15% instead of the previous 12%, with the promise that the commitment would be released much earlier. Yusek Traigib learned about the plan to transact with this individual or group, and I was informed by Yusek Traigib that he confronted Carlin and said to her, bakit nyo binabawasan ng kay Robert? Siya din naman ang nilalapitan ng mga yan pagka nagkakaproblema. However, sometime later part of December 2023, Carlin called me and requested for a 50 million advance for Senator Binay's use for the holiday season because the individual or group was unable to deliver on their promise, and which I then helped to fix. Thereafter, Carlin told me that Senator Binay was expecting an increase in the commitment from 12 to 15%, which I agreed to fulfill. I did not get any percentages from the aforementioned projects worth 1.672 billion, but I was reimbursed the 50 million which I earlier advanced. I was nurturing goodwill with Senator Binay by fulfilling the commitment. Sometime 2024, Carlin requested me to
I-stop
relate.
natin dyan. So, kita nyo, malayo ang diferensya. Paano nangyari? Let us follow this up, no? 20 minutes. Yan lang naman na question ko. Dapat siguro mapaliwanagan tayo ni Villa, ni Ombudsman kung bakit ganito. 92.8 million lang ang kinaso. Paano naman yung iba? Eh, sinabi pa nga niya, naghatid pa siya ng pera sa bahay ni Bong Revilla. 250 million yun. Paano na lang yun? So, mukhang may kinakampihan si si Rebulla ng Ombudsman. Assalamualaikum, alaikum assalam. Emil, Perni Pinto, Benmar Huerte, Ruth Stair. So, yun na po ang tanong ko. Bakit ganito? Alamin natin to, babantayan natin ito. Magandang gabi po sa lahat.